Super Smash Bros. Is undoubtedly a gaming giant nowadays. If you haven't heard of it, you're either living under a rock or insert joke about not playing Smash Bros. And therefore being dumb. But how did it become so popular? Well, frankly, it's because it's so different. Today on Analybits, let's talk about breaking the mold. The idea of taking each of Nintendo's mascots and pitting them against each other was obviously genius. I remember seeing that commercial of them beating the crap out of each other and was hooked from the start. But is that all it was? Just a Nintendo fighting game? We've seen other mascot fighters before, and while I do think it could have sold well and been relatively fun, a reskinned Marvel vs. Capcom with Nintendo characters wouldn't have stood the test of time like it has today. It stuck around because it was such a divergence from other fighters we'd seen at the time. There's 5 major areas where Super Smash Bros. Contrasted from the norm and created a unique experience in every iteration of the series. But first, let's start with the obvious, the health system. Instead of a health bar that when depleted causes the player to go aka die, Smash Bros. Incorporated a percentage system that made you fly farther when hit as your percentage grows. You can never just die by getting hit too much, you could only lose a life by reaching the edge of the screen. This might be what intrigued me most when seeing Smash Bros. For the first time. It definitely added new dimensions to how you fought. You could try to raise their percentage by kicking them in corners before launching them off the map, and you certainly need to learn that specific attacks do more damage than others. Most importantly, it stayed simple. It still makes sense logically to try and throw your opponent off the stage or launch them into oblivion. So even if your opponent doesn't just keel over and die, you're not confused about your objective. PlayStation All-Stars tried to incorporate a new health system too, but it was confusing and numbers and stuff. Next up, Smash changed the controls. Sure, we've seen special abilities in the form of Hadoukens or Fatalities, but they were all specific button combinations that the player had to execute. This isn't a bad thing, but instead we now see a Smash control system, by tapping the control stick in a direction at the same time as attacking. This is great for several reasons. One, it's easy to remember. You don't have to fill your brain with various button combos to pull off an awesome trick. Every character has the same buttons used, but they all have different abilities mapped to them. Second, it feels awesome when you pull off a smash attack. You feel the force going into your hit when you time it right, and it just feels intuitive and powerful. It's also not overwhelming because there's only 2 attack buttons, A and B. Anyone can pull off a sweet maneuver, not just the dedicated players. This one wasn't as obvious to me at first, but even the stages are vastly different from other fighters. We'll talk about this a little more later, but just the fact that the levels are nods to other Nintendo games is fantastic. This gives the game more cohesion and really adds in that Nintendo charm, though it's not necessarily a unique concept. What makes the stages stand out is the simple fact that there's other platforms to jump on other than the main one. Instead of just an empty playing field, each stage is full of platforms varying in heights and sizes, and are littered amongst several dangers. I remember as a kid thinking it was pretty cool how every single stage had a hazard to look out for, whether it was lava rising to burn you up, or even just a bumper at the top of the stage to throw you off. You had to focus on more than just pummeling your enemy, but where you're jumping too. This again leads back to more cohesion, as many of the mascots represented in this game come from platforming backgrounds. Furthermore, the items themselves add so much variety to the game. Sure, in some fighting games you can grab items to use on your foe, but not to the extent that Smash Bros. Has. There's a huge plethora of items to choose from, and they all add different elements of challenge, from a simple fan to knock people back, to the dreaded hammer which causes everyone to make a mad dash for the item. This, of course, also gives opportunity for more ties to Nintendo franchises, with items coming from all sorts of different games of years past. You can change the amount of chaos you want by limiting the drop rate and certain types of items that spawn, and this customizability is awesome and unique in its own right. Items on top of the platforming makes for a completely different fighting game experience than what its peers offer. Finally, but certainly not least important, Smash Bros. Has complexity. This is the category that a large portion of Smash players have no idea about. There is so much more to think about when playing Smash besides just hitting your opponent. There's shielding, teching, dashing, jumping, rolling, grabbing, invincibility frames, edge guarding, and so much more that even I don't fully understand. Smash Bros. Is so complex that it's one of the most active communities when it comes to fighting game tournaments still held to this day. Melee is regarded as one of the best fighters ever made, and by far the biggest when it comes to tournaments amongst other Smash games. It's fast, it's deep, and wow, is it fun to watch. Even if you've never played Smash Bros. In your life, it's easy to get into a match and start cheering for one of the players. Perhaps what I like most about Smash Bros. Is that even though all this complexity is built into the game, it doesn't deter new players from trying it out. Unlike several MOBAs where the learning curve will give you a headache, Smash is is so easy to pick up and learn. In a casual setting, Smash could be the most fun you've ever had. I've been there. And yet, if you want to get serious and learn all the complex moves and tricks, it's right there too. You can decide how you want to play and adjust the game accordingly. Whether you want to be the best Smash player in the world or just play on the couch with buddies, Smash has it all. And most importantly, it's unique and breaks the mold from other fighting experiences. And that's what Super Smash Bros. Gets right. Hey there, thanks for watching this look at Smash Bros. And why it's so awesome. I hope you enjoyed. In the comments, tell me why you love Smash Bros. And what you enjoy most about it. Don't forget to check out these other sweet videos and subscribe for more analytical content just like this. Don't worry, the Good Game Design series hasn't gone anywhere, there's more coming soon. I hope to see you guys around. Until next time, I'm Snowman and I'll see you later.